Today on Model Citizen, I'm so excited to welcome Katherine Howe. She hails from the Midwest, from Missouri. She's lived in New York for over 13 years. If you've ever gone shopping, you've seen her in the stores, working with clients like H&M, J. Crew, Anthropologie, Madewell, and too many others to count. Katherine, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Very happy to have you in chat. First of all, the biggest change in your life.
Yeah.
Now a mom, so thank you for taking time away from Mia for this.
Of course, yeah. I'm hoping my brain is functioning enough to speak, but I think I'm okay.
You're gonna kill it.
Yeah.
How's your mom new life?
It's good. It's been a big adjustment, like being in this mom bubble. So it's actually really exciting to be here doing the podcast and like get out of my house for a minute. But it's so cool, like watching a little person go from, kind of a little potato to a human is just so awesome.
I mean, she's going to grow up before your eyes. What is it like having a baby in New York compared to Midwest parenthood?
You know what? I've talked about this a lot. I think it's easier. I think there's a big misconception that having a baby in New York is like impossible. But I went home for Thanksgiving and we did not know what to do. She had to go in the car to go anywhere. You can't just like walk out of your house, go to a cafe, get a coffee. And like, yeah, there's all these classes here. I was telling you I go to Mommy and Me yoga every week. They don't have that there. It's really cool. There's a big community here.
I love that. Let's jump into your career. First of all, let's talk about size. What does it mean? Where did you start your career? Where would you say you're on the spectrum of size? And how did that shape the beginnings of work?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's changed a lot since I started. So I've been sort of the same size since the beginning, as a mid-size model, like size 8, size 10, sort of, fluctuating like a normal person would. But when I started, plus size was, the name of my division, and like I was a plus size model. So I had to fit that mold. I'd wear padding, I'd wear these big bras. I would, kind of, it was tough. You felt never quite right. You'd show up to set knowing that the way that you were, which is so interesting because you're trying to look bigger. It's kind of like flipping societal standards on their head. It was really a weird mind, change coming from always wanting to be thinner when I was younger to wanting to appear curvier, wanting to work for these plus size brands, and knowing that without padding and without boobs, I wasn't the right size. It never felt great to put that stuff on and pretend to be a size that I wasn't. And then all of a sudden things changed, and I was so lucky that I'd started modeling at this time. We were just joking that like I missed the Studio 54 fun time, but the reality is that at this size, I wouldn't have worked back then. And I got so lucky suddenly. J. Crew, Madewell, Ralph Lauren, all of these brands started using my size, which is essentially mid-size, sort of like the average person per se. And all these brands that I could have never dreamed for working for when I started were, casting me, booking me, flying me all over the world. It was just like kind of a dream come true. Now we're seeing that change a little bit. And I think especially for plus size, mid-size sort of, I feel like budgets were cut and people just said, forget it, we'll just do small and large. And, Ozempic came onto the scene. I don't know. We're feeling like, was this just a trend? Was this just fun for designers to be like, hey, look? And now that people have this option to lose weight in a different way, like, do we even care? It's a little bit, it's hard. It's tough to go like, sky high with all these amazing brands and then be like, oh, maybe they're done.
Well, I think it's very hard to step back and figure out and put your hands around the whole industry. So you have these high fashion brands that have had models of different sizes on the runway at one point, and now they've stopped. Then you have on the retail side and these great American clients, which of course have customers of all sizes, and trying to understand why sometimes they have more size diversity on set and in representation, and sometimes they don't. And it's hard to figure out where it's going at any given time.
Totally. Even me now, postpartum, I'm a different size than I was before. And I'm, looking for clothes that will fit me during this time, thinking about, oh, those brands that I know as being super diverse, in all ways, but especially size-wise, they don't necessarily have my size on the website. And I'm like, my mind is blown. I'm like, wait, what? That's your whole story. Why? What's going on?
It's definitely confusing.
Yeah.
As a model, a customer, and an agent.
Yeah, right. Like, why are we doing that? I'm not sure.
When you started modeling and you decided to make the move to New York, what was in your goal list or your dream?
I think at the very beginning, I think I was too scared to even dream. I was just like, we'll see what happens. We'll see what, whatever they can get me. As my confidence grew, my goals, Ralph Lauren was a huge goal for me. It was, growing up, my mom, we'd always like go to Ralph Lauren and like put the clothes on, and she'd be like, you look like a Ralph Lauren girl.
She was right.
And I was like, no, like there's no way. And then when I shot for them, it was just so cool to tell my mom and for her to see me on the site, and yeah, things like that you grew up thinking were amazing, but never thought would be possible for my size.
I mean, you've had a few billboards in Times Square.
Yeah, that's been very cool. I shot for H&M, which was so awesome. Old Navy billboard in Times Square on New Year's Eve, which was really funny. I didn't know, but everyone watching the ball drop was like, wait, who's
that girl?
I think I know her.
You were watching everyone.
Yeah.
When you think about all the clients you've been working with in your career, what do you think they see in you? What do art directors say when you hear clients talk on set? What's their version of Katherine Howe?
Yeah, I think there's a classic 90s look that I have that people like to sort of bring back. But I also think just being really aware of what you're doing and really wanting to learn and really being excited to be on set. I think that's something that I've always brought to work. And, asking like, can I see the screen? What are you, when you say that, what do you really mean? And really, I think putting in an extra level of work to get them what they want at the end of the day. Not everyone is good at explaining what they want. So as a model, if you're able to sort of interpret what they mean, I think that really gives you a leg up.
When you know you're going to work, do you spend time thinking about the call sheet and the people who you're going to be with on set? Do you think about the brand? Do you prepare mentally? What's your game plan?
Yeah, I'll often look, if it's a new client, I'll often look at the site just to get a good idea of what sort of vibe they're going for so that I don't, show up big cheesin' and that's not what they like. The call sheet I'll check out. Sometimes it's almost better for me to not look too hard into the call sheet if I'm going to get in my head about who's going to be there, if that makes sense. I actually think that when I'm confident and just treat everyone like they're my pal, that is my best. That is my strength. As like a Midwestern girl, I also think that's something that clients like. Just a person that's fun to be with and easygoing.
You've worked with a lot of clients and creative teams many, many times. Does that turn into friendships offset naturally? Is that something you enjoy?
Yeah, I think that's become my favorite part about this job. I think models and modeling, it can be lonely. If you're not seeing the same people, you don't get that coworker, fun, happy hour with your people, your office mates. So to have that as a model is so cool, and I feel so lucky that I've worked with brands like J. Jill for, I don't know, 10 years now. Those people are my close friends. They came to my baby shower. I go to their Christmas party. I feel, very blessed that we're so loyal to each other in that way.
I don't want to pierce your vision of working in an office.
Yeah.
But I love how it sounds to you.
Right. I'm like, it's so fun
grass
with your
is always
coworkers. Yeah. True. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably more fun to fly to Mexico to shoot, but you can be lonely.
Speaking of lonely, when I look through your social media and just knowing you this decade plus, I want to hear about the 3 Kathys. First of all, how did you end up becoming so close with 2 other models? And is that a challenge in the industry?
I think it can be a challenge, and that there have been times where I've tried to be friends with someone and just realized it's not going to work. They're too competitive and this is getting in the way. But my friends, Katie and Katie, who both also happen to be named Katherine, one's an Australian blonde, one's a redhead English girl. It's sort
Thank
of,
God they have different hair colors.
Thank God we're all a little different, so that helps. But it feels sort of like hilariously fated that we all somehow came together at the same agency at that time, and just we're just fun, and we're not like that. We don't get jealous of each other. We moved in together, and then I think it became, okay, this could go wrong. We're seeing each other go to the same castings. We're knowing, oh, you're on hold for that day. Wait, oh, they didn't confirm me. Oh, you're flying there. You'd start to see like someone's booking something and I'm not, and I have 2 choices. I can feel upset and jealous, and Katie kind of started this, Katie Syme. She'd say, well, someone's got to make money for the family. And so, if 2 of us were home, we'd say, all right, go make money for the family. And you'd send that person off, and you'd think like, if someone's going to book this job that isn't me and it's my best friend, awesome. She can buy me a margarita and I'm so happy. And also, I think in a more general sense, if you approach the modeling world like there's not enough work for you, I think there's not enough work for you. I think you have to just believe that you are a unique, special model and that you'll find your place.
That sounds like a really important tip for freelance in general.
Yeah.
You've worked with so many different people on set. Have you seen people struggle dealing with the highs and lows of work? I mean, it's a roller coaster.
Absolutely. And I've struggled with it too. And it's hard. I mean, it's such a dopamine hit when you get a big job. It feels so incredible. And then if you have a few weeks or a month without that, you're like an addict. You're like, where's my email that's going to be like, tomorrow you're flying to Spain. So you have to really find other stuff that brings you value and identity other than modeling. I think find a hobby, find, volunteering, something that grounds you a little bit, because otherwise you can kind of lose it and be obsessed with, oh, what's that girl doing? Oh, I saw on her Instagram, she's doing this. Well, I think there can be a feeling that you should be sort of calculated and competitive, and I don't think it actually works that well.
Well, now that you have a baby, you never have to worry about free time again.
I was going to say, downtime used to be an issue, no longer. It's gone. There's no worries. I actually solved the problem. It's done.
Was there a time when you were living in New York and you thought, God, I miss where I'm from, I miss my family, should I be living at home? Did you ever doubt your decisions?
Totally. In the beginning, I moved to Hell's Kitchen, which is great, but I lived right next to Times Square. I lived in a room with no window. Actually, sorry, there was a window. It was into the kitchen. So I had no AC. There were mice. It was very cheap, but I'm in my room using my suitcase as a nightstand, thinking, what exactly am I doing here? And I think I kind of just persevered until work picked up. But there were times where I really missed home. And I think it took about 4 or 5 years where I didn't go home and suddenly feel that comfort anymore. I sort of felt like, ooh, I wish I was in New York. Like, I can't order anything I want right now. I can't just walk to wherever I want to go. And I think once that switch flips, I don't know if you feel like this too, but it's hard then to kind of be anywhere else.
I mean, New York ruins you, for sure.
I'm like, how are we ever going to go? It's almost like either New York or like a cabin with no one around. I don't know. There's almost no in between.
I think that's really helped Hudson Valley.
Yes, yeah,
because
absolutely.
We want to be near New York even when we're desperate to leave.
We need to go, but we need to, yeah, exactly, totally.
Was there a moment where you really realized your life had diverged from your peers back at home?
Yes. Yeah. I have a great group of friends back home, but I think the traveling really, it opens your mind, and it's really amazing. I mean, I can't think of many jobs where you get this sort of opportunity to learn so much about other places and to go places enough where you almost feel like it's a second home. You know, going to Milan and London and all these places over and over. It's what a privilege. And then talking to some friends at home about going on a trip, and they're so nervous, and they're scared, and they can't believe I do this all the time, and it's crazy to do this. And yeah, that just made me so grateful for this job, because that's a possibility that I'm at home, kind of afraid to travel. Maybe I go to Mexico, you know, that, and to me that would be such a less full life.
I mean, instead you just appear in Cairo, no problem, another day.
Yeah, and you know what? That was a wedding we were invited to. Zach is invited to 400 weddings a year, my husband. And I think that there is a person in me who didn't go through all this that would have been like, I can't go to Egypt for a wedding. That's crazy. But instead we were like, sure, why not?
So let's talk about Zach.
Yeah.
When you met him and you were dating, what was it like for him to date a model? Are there a lot of presumptions? Did you have to get his head on straight? How did it work?
Yeah. You know, we'd known each other for a long time. So that was helpful. We didn't meet. I wasn't a model when we met. We met in the 6th grade. So he was like, model, you, the girl who wore sweatpants to high school every single day. He's like, nah, okay, whatever. I think it's easy to think, and it's also what I thought in the beginning, that modeling, you know, you're a pretty face or you've got the look and that's all it is. And I think pretty quickly he realized it can be a tough job mentally. It's a skill. It's not just standing there and smiling. You really have to learn about the camera and how to make the clothes look good. I think it changed his opinion a lot of modeling. Also, it's kind of like hard labor sometimes. Like, it's very physical on your body. And I don't think people realize that either.
Now, of course, there was the big moment when I tried to turn your husband into a model and he went on set and shot with you. What was that like? Were you the boss that day? Did you open your world to him?
It was fun. It was nice to feel like the boss, because Zach has a great job. He's really successful. I don't often see him out of his element or nervous. And he was a little nervous, and it was very sweet. And the photographer had to tell him to stop doing, like, it was very cute. And I think it just furthered him realizing that, oh, this isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. Like, wow, we really have to do this a lot. I really need to learn. And watching me just sort of know how to do it, I think it was fun. I was like, hey, yeah.
Well, I also think it's really hard to explain the dynamics of being on a set to people and how unique that is compared to an office job.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to I think it's really important to talk to everyone, be nice to everyone. I loved that he sort of had no clue who was who. We're shooting with quite a well-known, famous photographer, and Zach's just talking to him about cycling. He DM'd him later to say thanks, like this man with like 1 million followers. He's like, it was so nice meeting you today. I just thought that was so sweet. So I think he's learning the dynamics, but maybe not quite.
I have a question about testing.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about what role that has played in your career and what your approach is to new pictures?
I think testing it maybe sounds silly to say, but I think it's underrated among models. I think a lot of times models don't want to test. I love testing. I love styling. I love finding a new photographer and just saying, hey, I'm doing this, or creating something with friends. And I think I can tell that it's been a huge part of me booking jobs, especially different jobs from what I'm already doing. And you can tell, you show up on set and the photo that they have of you is from that test that you just styled, that you were so excited about. And that's like, it feels amazing. You're like, wow, I did this. This is really cool.
I mean, it's amazing also sometimes how tests can literally be in your book or your online portfolio for years to come. I've been shocked as the cost of testing has gone up in New York, but the cost of everything has gone up. And a lot of times I tell models it's literally the best investment you can make in your life.
Totally, absolutely. It's hard because not everyone is going to turn out exactly the way you want, and you can't give up. You have to keep doing it, and it is expensive, but everything's expensive. And as you get better and as you make friends on set, you'll start having free tests. You'll start doing it with friends, and it's even more rewarding when you do it like that.
I called you recently. I was working on a project for Zara Kids.
Yeah.
What do you think of the idea of your daughter modeling sometime? What advice would you give her? What would you want for her that you've learned?
Yeah. You know, what took a while, I would be nervous about her modeling, only because I think, and this is something I want to ask you about later, but I think it can be a tough job to maintain your mental health. And that's, what more do I want for her than to be happy? But I think what really made me happier and more successful, and what I would wish for her, is just, it's so cheesy, but being myself really changed the game. Not showing up, I'd show up for my first castings, I'd contoured my nose, I was wearing all kinds of chicken cutlets to look like I had big boobs, and, I had my padding, and I already felt uncomfortable. I wasn't comfortable with myself. So I showed up at castings or on set, and I think the client could tell I didn't feel good about who I was, and I'm wearing whatever casting outfit someone had told me to wear. And when I stopped doing all that, I really started booking work and feeling confident and comfortable, which just makes you more fun on set. You make friends. It's just, that's what I would want for her if she modeled, to know that. And I would tell her that.
Do you think models are more self-critical of their features than the rest of us?
Yes.
Because you would think it would be the opposite.
I think about this all the time, and I say this all the time. You'd think that models would be like, well, I'm a model, so obviously I look. And that's kind of, if you say something self-deprecating, people's response is sometimes, please, like, you make money off the way you look. But most people haven't seen themselves from so many angles or heard the criticism that I've heard, or that we hear. And it's hard. I remember, I'll never forget, I was on set and the photographer somebody asked if I had a good side. And this was kind of early on. And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, well, and she proceeded to tell me what my good side was. And ever since, and still, even now, this is my bad side, Conor. I should have been on that side.
I think all your sides are great.
Yeah. even, you know, and there was a while, I think, after she said that I would only look this way. And clients would be like, can you turn the other way? And I'd be like, I would just turn this part of my body.
So it really gets in your head.
It sticks with you, that kind of stuff, you know? We're not meant to think so much about the way we look all the time. And at a certain point, you have to start just accepting that this is how you are, or you're going to go crazy.
Does being a model affect how you criticize or perceive advertising and representation, since you've been behind the scenes for so many years?
Definitely. And I think what really recently is the advertising diversity without actually selling diversity is really what I'm feeling most critical of at the moment. And also being pregnant was really interesting because I was searching for maternity clothes, and I understand that it's difficult to book pregnant models sometimes, but that was hard. I was looking at all of these models who, you know, were probably a size 0 with just a fake belly on their stomach, and that is not fun when your whole body's swollen, you've gained 40 pounds and you're in the second trimester and you're like, oh my God, that's not going to look like that on me at all.
It's funny you say that. I have a model working for a retailer next week. And of course I told them she's 5 months pregnant. I've sent them pictures and they're fine with it. And she finally called me yesterday and she said, you know what? I just don't feel comfortable. The pants aren't going to fit me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to work with them in this way. And of course I respected it, and I called them and they were surprised because they were excited to see her again. But it just was a different idea of what she was used to.
Yeah.
You did some maternity jobs.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I will say I was really nervous too. And part of me wanted to be like, well, I don't even know what size I am, so I don't even think I should go, because you're so used to showing up and being the same and knowing what you're going to fit in. Being pregnant, everything's changing. It was scary, but it all ended up being great. And actually, I think that'll be so fun to have those photos.
I mean, your daughter is going to have pictures.
Right. It's her first
born.
modeling job. And it was so funny because I think they often had to use fake bumps on this job. So when I showed up actually pregnant, everyone was like, oh, wait, are you okay? Like every 10 minutes, do you need a break? Are you all right?
I'm a real pregnant person.
I'm okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool.
If you hadn't found modeling, or modeling hadn't found you, what was in your career plan? So
I've always been interested in sustainability, and I was working for a renewable energy nonprofit before I moved to New York. I didn't love sitting at a desk. So back to the office, maybe the coworker, I don't know. It wasn't for me. But always nature, gardening. Even now I've kind of gotten into floral design. And I could totally see myself doing something like that. And I think what drew me to the modeling industry is that feeling of creativity and creating with other people. And I feel that too in, creating these amazing arrangements for these events with everyone else, and we're all coming together. It's, something like that.
I want to see some of that work.
I will show you. It's really fun.
It?
I put some up. Obviously, I've been on a hiatus, but I think I'm gonna get back into it.
When you think about sustainability as a model and a consumer, is that something that you've wrestled with in our world of selling and producing?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
What's your approach?
So it's hard because modeling, it's about selling the clothes, and the way companies sell clothes is to make new styles every season and try to sell those again and again. And I think it's been nice to see some companies that I've worked for start to recycle clothes for consumers. Like, you trade in a pair of jeans and they give you a discount, and they use those to make new jeans, or they recycle textiles. There's a lot more that these companies need to do. And I think there are certain companies that I would probably never work for just because I don't support the way that they and I think you probably don't work with them either. So we don't need to say, but you know what I'm talking about. But personally, I love shopping vintage. I think you get amazing stuff and it's fun. It's like, I grew up shopping at TJ Maxx. It's like TJ Maxx, but like good.
What is your one vintage go-to in New York?
Oh my God, it used to be called Chickies Vintage. Sobara's in South Williamsburg. She actually used to model. She was a model, so she's used to, set and glam, but she has the most amazing taste, and I cannot go there without buying something. So I actually can't go by there that often.
When you go home, is there good vintage shopping in St. Louis?
That is some serious sifting. And if I had more time, I'd probably do it. But when I'm home, it's like, where are you? One day.
I want to thank you so much for your time today. It's so amazing to get to know you even more.
Yeah, thank you. It's been so fun.
And I can't wait to see what this year has in store for you.
Me too. Thank you, Conor.
Thank you.